Hey, welcome to Mr. Pezman's Place. Today we're going to have some fun creating a T13 robot into a drone pilot. So I'm going to use this T13 action figure. You see it has 15 points of articulation, which makes them really useful for doing stop motion animation. And I also have a DJI Mini 2 SE drone here. And what I want to do is I want to combine these two things and turn this T13 or Titan 13 robot into a pilot for this drone. And afterward, we'll see if the drone is capable of lifting the T13 and all the gear we're going to put on it here and see what happens. So I'm using my TechBoss 3D pen, nothing fancy here, just a simple 3D pen, and I'm going to begin by showing you how I build my frames to hold structures onto my drone. So you might wonder, well, how am I keeping this from ruining my drone? Well, thankfully, the PLA in the 3D pen, even though it comes out about 168 degrees Fahrenheit, when it cools, it can snap off from the plastic of the drone. Generally fairly easy. You see me struggling with it a little bit here, but it comes off and it doesn't leave any damage or make any marks on the drone, but it holds the shape for the most part. So what I do is I make a little nose cone first and make sure that it fits snugly around the front of the drone, and use the little indents here at the front on these vents as a bit of a grip area, so it'll all clip into place. And you'll see how it works in a little bit. I know the video speeds up and slows down quite a bit, but I wanted you to be able to see sort of here's the speed that it takes me to actually do this, and then I speed it up considerably so as not to waste a lot of your time. This actual process took about an hour and a half, and I didn't want to post a 1 hour and a half long video, and I certainly wouldn't want to have to narrate an hour and a half video. That's just too much of my voice. So I just shortened it by speeding clips up, and I did cut out a couple little things where I got distracted or whatever. So I just lay down more filament and make an outline here to start the top of the frame of the drone pilot seat, and I'm just going to on-click it again here. Carefully release the PLA from the top of the drone. Sometimes it sticks a little bit. Most of the time it comes out pretty easy, and you can see it holds the shape. So now I have the beginning structure, but I still need to add some more points where the frame will actually hold tightly to the drone. You can see this would fall off pretty simply. So I'm going to begin by just securing things a little bit. Add a couple of points here just to, this will help hold it in place while I'm working on the next part. And I'm going to put a couple of, secure the nose a little bit, put some extra support there. And I'm going to put a couple supports across the drone because I'm going to need those to hold the pilot seat in place when I get it made. So there's these little screw holes on the front of the drone that I like to use those as a place for the structure of the seat, the frame of the seat, to clip in. So I'll let the PLA go down the hole just a little bit, and then I draw in connecting lines to connect those holes to the main frame. And I just press it in place, make sure everything is snug. Do the same thing on the other side while I let the first one cool. Made a bit of a mistake there. Try again. Make this across. Again, this is probably sped up at least 4 or 5 times real speed, so you'll understand I'm not actually doing it as fast as it looks here. And then I'm going to support all this and add some more strength to the joints. I don't want these little narrow pieces to break off because they're essential to be able to lift this frame on and off. I release these things. I'm going to use my little knife here to unclip down these holes because it kind of gets stuck a little bit, and but usually it pops off pretty easy. And I'll release both of these sides, and then release all the other little edges that I've put in place, and you'll see it just kind of pops off in my hand, and here it is. and you can see that the frame now has the front on the nose to hold it in place, as well as 2 clips on those screw holes. I'm going to add a couple more clipping areas on these back vents. And I'm careful not to put a lot of PLA in the vent holes or anything like that. I don't want to make things complicated on myself, but just a little bit extra and release those. And now there are literally 4 points where this will click onto the drone, and also it holds onto the nose, and that will be enough to keep the pilot seat in place. So now here's what I had to figure out. Sorry, I'm off camera a tiny bit there, but I want to figure out how I want him to look, and I just freehand drew a little model, a little shape here of what I imagine this pilot seat will look like, and I just use a piece of heavy paper, piece of cardstock, and just a hand-drawn shape, and I just begin to outline that with the 3D pen. I'll sort of take my time here, and then I'll speed up the video a little bit so you don't get too bored. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I do stop motion animation using T13 action figure robots like the one you see here, and I do 3D pen art and things like that, and on my channel. So if you're interested, please hit that subscribe button, and certainly leave me a like. If you've made it this far in the video, probably earned a like by now, I hope. Anyways, I make 2 of those, and when I'm ready here in a moment, I'll begin the process of strengthening these as well. So I made 2. I'm just going to add a couple of different areas for extra strength on the frame. Don't need a whole lot, so a little bit like this will do it. I do the same thing on the other one. You don't need to see all that in regular motion. Then I begin to create just this rectangle of solid piece. I'll show you what I'm going to do with that in just a few moments. I'll peel that off. And sometimes the paper sticks to the back of the PLA, but it really doesn't matter. You can just wet it and it will come right off. Or you can just leave it, it doesn't matter. And then I make a rectangle, which is going to become the seat of the pilot seat. And I'm just use a simple grid pattern. Doesn't have to be fancy. Just something to give it somewhere for the T13 figure to sit on. Now I have my 3 main pieces, and I'm going to start by putting little cuts in the structure here. You can see it'll bend after I cut the edges. Again, sorry I'm off camera a little bit. I haven't done this a lot, so I'm trying my best to stay on camera here. But you can see what I'm doing there, just making little snips with my my cutters, and that gives me areas where I can bend the grid pattern here and clip off any extras. And now it'll fit down over the frame of the seat. So you can see, cut off some extra here, and now it fits the form of the shape there. And then I'm going to just basically tag the corners, and that'll be enough strength just by tagging the corners. Each one I just kind of put a little dab of PLA and make sure it's tight, and then it still moves, it's still flexible, so I can make adjustments as I need. I'll add a few on this side, and then I'll do the same with the other side of the seat frame, and you'll see me do all that in just a moment. You might wonder how I touch the PLA. It's 168 degrees Fahrenheit coming out of this pen, but it really doesn't take long to cool at all. You can almost put the PLA down on your structure that you're building, on your model, and touch it within seconds. It can get hot, and I don't recommend little kids do that. It could burn their skin, but you know, my hands are a little bit tougher than that, so I guess it's okay. I'm just almost got the other side tacked on here now, and you can see the structure of the seat coming together. I'm going to just straighten up some of the areas where I made my folds, just to make sure that they're neat and strong without having to worry about it too much. And now the seat is pretty well ready to get attached to the drone itself. I just try him again, see how he fits. It looks good. I like that. It gives the idea that he's sitting in a pilot seat on top of the drone. And then I begin to attach the seat to the frame that I've already made. Make sure it's centered as best I can there. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I want to make sure that it looks good. So I'm adding little dots again to secure this to the frame. Now, I haven't weighed what the finished pilot seat and the T13 figure weighs together, but I will do that in a later video or maybe in a short. So just subscribe if you want to catch that when I do it. And I'm actually going to take this thing into the air in a short video that you'll find on my channel pretty soon, I would imagine, probably sometime this week. And I build a little, right on the back of the T13 now, I make a harness that will hold him to the seat. And again, the actual T13 that I have here is made from a ABS material, so it doesn't melt as low a temperature as the PLA. So I can actually make designs directly on to the T13. Now, if you buy T13s on Amazon or on different websites or from wherever on the internet or from Titan 13 Toys website or whatever, some of them are made from PLA, and I'm not sure whether or not using the 3D pen on those would actually cause it to stick. So I lay him aside with his harness on his back, let that cool a little bit, and I pick up that rectangle piece I made a while ago, and I'm going to begin to trim it to the size because I want to make a little toe guard for his feet to go in at the front of the seat. You might have been wondering what that little shape was that I had at the beginning of at the front of the seat there. So I just add a couple of pieces of the little black rectangle I made and attach that to the front, and that'll kind of give a place for his feet to fit while he's flying around in his drone while he's piloting. So now I carefully detach the harness from the back of my T13 here. You got to take your time. Again, this video is sped up considerably, so you can see, like, here's more real speed. Show you what the harness kind of looks like now. And then I want to position that back on him and then put the harness directly onto the seat. Put a couple of strips of PLA across here and let that cool, and I'll be able to take him off the seat. While that cools, I take the remainder of my black rectangle here, scratch off some more paper, mess, and scratch it off with a knife there to get that out of the way because it looks messy. And again, it's not hard to do. And I'm just going to fold this up into kind of like an M shape. I just imagined it would be like a harness or a strap to hold his legs in. I don't really know that it makes any difference to him staying in the seat, but you can see the little M shape that I made here just by bending it a few different places and then attaching it. Now I'm going to attach this to the pilot seat over his lap, and that will give me something to sort of look like he's more secure in there. So I take him off the seat again from his harness, and then I attach this on both sides, make sure it's kind of stood up nicely and looks good. Unfortunately, my first time doing this, I put it up too high and made it impossible to get him back in, so I had to cut it off and move it down a little bit and try again. This time it works and it looks really good. He slides into his seat and he sits in there real nice. So I put him back in his harness, and now I think I want something for him to look like he's controlling the drone. So I start to, as you can see, that I can lift him and he can lift the weight of the drone now. His shoulders popped off again. I put different hands on him because he had closed fists, but I want him to have open fists, hands, ones that would be used for holding weapons or things like that. So these fists have little holes in them. You might not be able to see it in the video. So I make a little line on a piece of on my piece of cardstock again. Adjust my speed there. Make a line here, about as long as what I figure I'll need. Peel that off. Strengthen it a little bit. You can see the PLA actually bends when I add more to it because of the heat, but I can straighten it up again. Cut that in half and attach it to the lap strap that I just popped down. I thought that would give kind of a look like he has something, a couple of joysticks to hold on to. So I thought that'd be fun. I attach those on both sides, kind of angled out to give the idea that they're joysticks. Maybe, imagine one is for up and down, and one is for, you know, direction, forward, back, sideways, that kind of thing. I don't know. And I put those down his hands on. It fits nice. They're a little too long for me, so I trimmed those off. In a moment here, you'll see me trim, actually off camera there, sorry. But I trimmed them down a little bit, put his goggles on to make him look like he's getting ready to take flight. And here you have it. He's finished. But the question is now, will it fly? And we'll have to wait and see. That'll be on another video. So please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. This is Mr. Pezman's Place. Have a great day.